Right, g'day there, Richard MUSGRAVE-EVANS and welcome back. Now today I'm inside the Rustic studio or shed or whatever, stuff that's got all the great still life props around me, fantastic stuff. I've done a few still lifes in this shed over the years and I collect a lot of these antique tools and bits of old leather and whatever, and so today I reckon I'll give these boots a go. Should be a bit of fun. I'm going to paint these boots here, just some old R.M. Williams boots, classic old leather boots, and I think we're set up pretty well here. So I've got the palette right in front of you so you can see the colours I'm mixing. And I'm using fairly simple colours today. I've just got cobalt blue, burnt sienna, yellow ochre and white, and alizarin crimson. It's just going to be a very basic, we'll see what we can do with those colours, but I think you'd be surprised. You can get pretty much everything out of that, which is great. Canvas, just got the tape on the edge that I'll peel off later. That means I'll just get a nice neat edge later on. So I've just put a few marks in just to get the feel, and then I'll go. Now, pretty much go, I'll probably jump into a bit of brush, I may not, but I'm going to start with palette knife anyway. Alright, now probably need to put in a few of the darks, obviously, get the darks established. So I'll use some burnt sienna, some cobalt blue, which is creates a great dark already, as you can see, and a little bit of alizarin crimson. That's getting dark. Alright, so just squinted my eyes a bit so I can see the darker tones easier. Yeah, so I've just put a few shapes in, all put in with the palette knife itself. And the reason I did that is because the draftsmanship is very important. I've pretty much blocked in just sort of a draftsmanship version of it. Even though it looks like basic, almost nothing there, to me I can see the shapes of the boots forming and I can see their proportions, and that's really what you need more than anything, because you don't want to start building up the shape of a boot and then you realise that it's either too big or too small compared to the other one. It's in the wrong spot, in the wrong shape. Getting those marks in the right spot at the start is one of the best ways to save a lot of work down the track. I do enjoy painting boots. I've done it a lot on and off throughout my career. I love painting old rustic boots. They just have character. Old leather boots seem to have a character all of their own, the wear and tear and whatever over the years. Just great stuff. Alright, so just reinforcing that a bit more now. I probably should just put a background in. I'm just going to use a vague sort of background, nothing too definite, suggested. So it's just going to be a fairly neutral, non-eventful thing. So we'll go for some blue, bit of brown, bit of white to lighten it, make a fairly neutral, medium sort of tone. Yeah, have a look. A bit more red in it. You can have whatever you want. Now the knife's really good for putting a lot of paint on at once. So instead of having to build up with layers and whatever else, you've got the finished amount of paint that you want right at the start. Which definitely does help. The canvas is nice and tight, you can hear it. Sounds like a drum. Pretty windy out there today. You can hear the trees banging around on the old tin roof. Now, the palette knife itself around the edges is not always the easiest thing to get it right onto the edge of the tape, so I might just get a brush in a minute. Just give you an example now. The brush has got a bit of flex in it, that is. And that way I can bring that paint easily to where the tape is. Because the tape's ever so slightly around the corner, so it's actually easier to get that brush and do that. And that'll just mean right from word go you've got nice neat edges when you finish the work. Which I guess doesn't hurt, does it? Alright, so let's have a look what am I going to do here. Right, I'm going to go get some more white out. I can see that, I'll be going through that. If I'm not using any medium, which it doesn't look like I'm going to do this time, go through more paint. But that gives it a certain quality all of its own. What am I going to do here? I can make up anything as I go because you can, whatever you want. You can introduce a bit more brown at the base there. What have we got here? Truck going past outside. Right, just trying to get that level through there, how I want it. Might go for a bit of yellow ochre and white here, a bit of brown. Just making a lighter, warmer tone over here that I'm going to introduce. Blending it a bit by doing closer marks. That's good. Now I just get the brush to get those edges going how I want them. Right. It's pretty wild out here today. There's a bit of rain on the roof now. Now I've done those edges, I'll bring the palette knife back up. We're just working with warm and cool contrast in the background, just playing around a bit. You can see it's kind of created, the shed itself has that kind of blue, brown, maybe a bit of ochres here and there, so I've just done a generalised out of focus version of that. We get the bench top in, white and burnt sienna. There's a lot of dust on top of that. Gives it that classic red earth. The soil's fairly red outside, so you get that beautiful tone. I'm just trying to get rid of the white mostly now because obviously the white is the biggest difference between the subject and the painting. I'll just get that out. Constantly double checking here and there as I go about this shape and form. Now, this goes a little bit lighter at the bottom. I'll just do that because it feels like the thing to do at the time. So I'm using white and yellow ochre. As you can see, very simple. You can see the white. Let's have a look now. Yeah, you can see the white. Just had to work out exactly where this palette runs off the edge of the picture plane there that you're looking through. So I just had to work out if I've put all the colours in the shot, which I have, thankfully. I've got this other easel behind me in the way. So I'm raising my elbow a bit to get in here. Right, like I said before, we'll just get those edges neatened up. You hear that rain? Right. Okay, so the edges are done. Don't have to worry about it anymore, that's all done, that part. Great. Just a little bit of paper towel. Clean the knife. Right. Just pulling that together a bit. Let go of that edge. We don't need a definite edge there. It's the out of focus background, remember? Right. Okay, so we've established we've got a lot of it covered now. Right, the fun part, putting these boots in. Okay. Establishing the tone and colour of those boots. Red, brown, blue, creating a neutral colour again. Have a look. So, just squinting my eyes down a bit so I can see the tones. Tonal relationship between everything. She's a bit darker there, she's a bit lighter there. When you squint your eyes, you can kind of see the lights and the darks more clearly. They stand out better in your eyes, which is always a good thing. Your brain computes it better, makes sense of all the subtle tones. We've gone a bit darker here. So, I'm getting rid of the white, as you can see, with a crazy big knife. But I will get into the smaller knives as well. I'm just sort of blocking it in at the moment. Okay, now a bit of red and a bit of brown. Make up a nice colour of burnt sienna and liver and crimson. The elastic on the inside has a nice red-brown colour about it, so it really pops there. again is a good tonal, is a good colour contrast. Bring some of those yellow ochres in, earthy tones. Slightly small with brush, palette knife for me. So that's going to be, just establish where these boots are going. It's going to be there. They're very subtle variance between all these tones because they're almost the same colour. Basically we're dealing with different layers of black and brown. Because of that, everything's very subtly similar. There's not big massive contrast between the warm and cool colours. It's all, there's still warm and cool colours there, but they're way more subtle than you can get in other, when you're in the outback painting the sunset, for example. You've got all those warm and cool tones that I paint. Very obvious differences between them all. Whereas here, everything's so much more subtle. So, like I said, I'm squinting my eyes down so I can see that subtlety better. Blue and brown. Pulling out a bit of a shadow here and there. There. See that bird outside? Bird, I say, keep on going around here with my knife, just doing a bit of drawing, the edge of it. Oh, hang on, no, just change that. Just feeling some of the zigzaggy tones in the boots. Great stuff. Yeah, subtle. Nothing definite. I mean, they are definite, but there's nothing crazy like big and contrasting. It's all in the subtleness of the quality of the leather rather than the huge, obvious tonal contrast. They're just constantly always working around, just building bits up, playing bits down. Constantly refining it as I go. Got a bit of paint on there now. I'm not just scratching, I'm actually using the edge of the knife now to apply a bit of paint where I had a few of those scratch marks. So I'm using yellow ochre and white, knife on edge. Just pull her up like so. Burnt sienna. We go way darker than that. Burnt sienna and blue to darken that tone. Just more like it. Yeah, right, change tack and get stuck into some of the details. What do we got here? Got the knife on edge again, the little knife with the white, yellow ochre and white. Just going to restate that thing I scratched in earlier. Blue. It's going to make a really light, clean blue over here. Just trying to get this bench here how I want it. Just about there, just about there. Now the reason I just put a bit more highlights there is to draw the eye, because I'm working with light and dark. Trying to draw the eye into the light source. So if it's something important, it has a lot more contrast. And so this area of the boot here, compositionally in my mind, is very important. So I lighten that tone compared to here, for example. Pull your eyes into it. Alright, well, I'm just going to leave it like that, a nice impression of the boots. I don't want to get too carried away, we'll just leave it like that. And you'll have a closer look and check it out. Alright. Now remember, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and forward it on to your friends and all the great stuff like that. And also press the notification bell, and that way you'll be made aware of any videos as I upload it. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're enjoying the Still Life series. And until next time, I'll see you down the road. Alright, the simple colour palette. Cobalt blue, burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, titanium white. A couple of palette knives, a couple of brushes. It's all in the subtle blending of the tones. You can see that the tones here are just subtle variances. Create the impression that you're after.